Hello, we are live. Hello, welcome to my page. This is Perlita de Guzman. Again, this is our monthly panel interview with another successful online business owner. He's rocking the business, the online space. And of course, I'm Perlita de Guzman. Welcome to my page. I am originally from the Philippines. I'm from Oshawa, Ontario, Canada, residing here with my family. And I am a nurse by profession. And of course, I am so proud to be here with you. I hope you stay with us until the end. And I will let my team members introduce themselves. Okay, ladies?
Hello, good morning, everyone. To my co-business owners, good morning to our viewers and to our guests, of course. Sa mga nagtanaw sa ato diha nga mga Bisaya, maayong buntag sa inyong tanan. I hope makakuha mo og mga information about sa amo ang business nga makatabang pud sa inyong kinabuhi. By the way, I'm Imelda Arbili. I'm from New York. I'm a mom, a wife, a grandma, a pharmacist by profession, originally from Davao, Philippines also, a proud digital business owner, and a mentor. Stay tuned and hope you get some values from this panel interview. See you.
Hola, hola a todos. Hi, everyone. My name is Yesenia, but everyone knows me as Jessie. I'm a nurse by professional, but original from Cuba. I live right now in Ontario, Canada, and as I'm also a digital entrepreneur and a mentor. And we're going to have a good insight, so stay with us and learn from this beautiful guest that we have today.
Okay. Okay, guys. Now I would be introducing to you our very special guest. As always, we always have special guests. And he is also a nurse, and I'm so proud of us healthcare workers because we are rocking the business as well. And let me introduce to you, and he will tell us more about himself, Coach Paolo.
Hi,
Hi.
ladies. Good
Hi,
morning.
thank you.
Thank
Yes.
Welcome.
you.
Thank you again.
Thank
Okay,
you for having me.
Coach. Yeah, Coach Paolo. I did not introduce you that much. Could
That's,
you please tell us more about who really Coach Paolo is?
yes, definitely. Hi, everyone. Good morning. My name is Paulo Perles. I was born in the Philippines, but I moved to Canada when I was a baby. So I grew up in Calgary, Alberta, Canada. And yeah, as many Filipinos, I became a nurse as well. And I have done many different roles in nursing. So I've been nursing for over 22 years. So I've done nursing in inpatient hospitals, outpatients. I worked for a pharmaceutical company for a couple of years. I worked for clinical informatics, so doing the IT side, and then majority of it was what I've done was research in cancer clinical trials, and so I've been dabbling in so many different areas of nursing, and yeah, that's sort of like just the gist of what I do as a nurse. And yeah, I've been doing the business for over 8 years, and I currently reside here in Vancouver, Canada.
Wow.
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 Oh my goodness. Yeah, you're all over the place and
Yeah,
you've been places as a nurse. Oh
yeah,
man. That's a lot of achievements, coach.
it
And
is.
plus you
Yeah,
are rocking the online world. All right. Okay. Now, to entertain and to educate, to motivate and inspire all the viewers, here's for you. As a nurse having a demanding career, what steps did you take to start and grow your own online business while balancing your shifts, and what advice would you give to someone in a similar position?
okay, perfect. So when I started the business when I just actually started my new job working for the pharmaceutical company. So I was working for Bristol Myers Squibb, which is a big company. I was already doing cancer clinical trials research at BC Cancer, but I burnt out. I was exhausted. I was tired. I needed a change. I was doing that for almost 6 years, and I was like, I just need to do something different. So this opportunity came up where one of the ladies that was auditing one of my clinical trial studies said, you know, Paulo, we're looking for a potential person to help out with auditing. Would you be interested? So I actually applied for the job. I got it, and worked at it. But during that time, when I started, it was a brand new role. I was So it was a big change for me at that time. I was leaving the union, which is very challenging because a lot of nurses don't like leaving the union. And then I was working for corporate level style work, and I was also working from home, which is a totally different scenario for a lot of nurses. So this is before the pandemic. I didn't know how it was to work from home. So here I am starting this new job. And then at the same time, a couple months before starting this new job, I just started the business as well. And so it was just very challenging in a way to find that balance. And the challenging part too was working in that role for the pharmaceutical company. It was I had to travel between British Columbia and Alberta at least 6 to 8 times a month. And I was on site doing my auditing for 8 hours. Then I'd come home and I work for another 2, 3, 4 hours because I have to type up the reports, send out the letter to follow up letter to the physician or the clinic. So it's just a lot of work. And so when I was starting this business, of course it's a lot of work too, because you're learning a totally different way of doing social media. Because for those who are watching, we teach you how to do social media from a business perspective versus a personal perspective. And learning that, I was on social media all the time for personal stuff, just posting things, but learning it from a business perspective was challenging. However, because our business is the business model and the training is all online, it made it easier for me to do the training. So when I'd be at the airport, I'd be in the lounge doing the training. When I'd be in the taxi ride, I'd be doing the training. So I was just chipping away at it at very small pieces. And as all of you ladies know, when you do 15 minutes here, 20 minutes there, 30 minutes there, it adds up. And so that's how I was able to allow myself to learn this type of business that we're doing. And also it kind of goes back to kind of figuring out like how to adjust your scheduling. Take out the things that aren't priority in your schedule anymore. Like I took out Netflix, I took out watching TV, I took out hanging out with friends, going out drinking all the time. Like I just shifted everything and focused on, this is what I need to do. It was a priority, and that's how I was able to manage get this business up and rolling. So for those who are looking to start something, like I've been recently posting stuff about, starting this type of business versus going and getting another job at a physical location. And the difference is quite big, because when you go into a physical location, you have to be there physically. And at the same time, you're taking time away from your personal time, that if you're already working a Monday to Friday job, and then you take on an extra part-time job in the evenings or the weekends, that's taking away from your personal time with your partner, with your family, with your kids. And so that's a big chunk of time versus this business. Because we have our phones, you can take it anywhere. You can be at your kid's soccer game working on your business. You can be in the doctor's office working on your business. You can be in the grocery line working on your business. So it's a lot more flexible and portable. So people who are looking for, like, let's see, what advice would you? I would say just adjust your scheduling. If this is something that you really want to do, make it a priority. Because I always remind myself of the whys, of like, why am I doing this? Because that's what's always going to help you kind of reshift your focus. Because when you start getting distracted and be like, no, this is too hard, or I've got other things to do, remember your why. Because we've all seen during the COVID that regardless of how long you've worked for a company, you're just a number. They'll easily let you go regardless of how many years you put into that company. And so you always have to look out for yourself, number one. And if you don't see yourself getting ahead in the next 1, 2, 3 years of the business, of the work that you're doing, working for somebody else, you need to have a backup plan. So that's what I have to say with that question there.
Oh my, that's
Oh,
so
thank you so much.
powerful that I could listen to you all day.
Yeah, yeah. That's really a good insight, because most of like, people that I know, like, you try to share the business, and it's like, oh, I'm too busy, like, it's like and I say, like, yeah, but I see you guys doing Facebook all the time.
Yeah.
And then
Yeah,
you're just wasting your time, instead of,
yeah.
like,
And if
anyway.
The
That's a
way
really
he's
good.
so busy,
Yeah,
he's
it's
so
an
much,
excuse. Yeah,
so much in his plate, and he could still do it. And he's all over the place with the nursing job, plus this online business. If he could do it, I think anybody can do it. We
yes.
are just babies compared to you, yes, and I being a nurse, because you've been, oh my goodness, all over the place as a nurse. Oh my.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
Just to add to that too is making that mindset shift, because if you, so let's say you're doing something like it with your real job. I've seen posts about this. It's like you sacrifice a lot for your real job. You go in 9 to 5 or 8 to 4:30. You work overtime. You work on weekends for this job. But then the moment that you want to do something, prove yourself and start your own business, or or to achieve a dream, you put that on the sideline. I
Mhm.
don't get it. Like you put in so much work into making somebody else's dreams come true versus making your dreams come true.
That's
So,
true.
yes,
Paolo, I
Mhm.
just listen to you, and I really resonate with that because I'm also a nurse, an RPN here in Ontario, and I'm an immigrant as well. And when I came here, I did what my parents, like, everything told me, like, go to school, get a degree, work for someone else. That's the only way you can make money,
yes,
and I did that. And then I was start working, like when pandemic happened. Yes, was a lot of opportunity for nurses, but they
Yeah.
were just part-time or temporary. And then there was a lot of nurses with two to three jobs. How
Oh
crazy
yeah.
is that? One job is completely crazy. You're thinking about it as a nurse having two to three jobs, or healthcare worker. You know how busy you are, how you don't have time. And that was
no,
that was my problem. I didn't
Yeah.
have time. Like,
yeah,
I needed the money, like I was looking for something else. I needed the money, but like when you think, like, why looking for a second job, then I barely have time now.
Yeah.
How can I want to have less time with my family and friends.
yeah,
And that really resonated with me. That was one of the reasons I say yes to this business, because that's what I was just looking for. I was looking for time freedom. So
Mhm.
yeah, I really resonate with you. And like, we're not saying just the nurses, like,
yeah.
there's a lot of people they put out there, like, okay, let me have two to three jobs, but they don't understand that having a second plan, as you say, it
Yeah,
will benefit them more or better than
for
having
sure.
that second job.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true. Yeah, like
100%.
for us, like as healthcare workers, we have decent salaries and all that, but we're trading in our time to money. So in the end, it's not really like you don't really have life at all. So
Yeah.
anyway, Coach, thank you so much for those
Oh,
insights. And
you're welcome, Imelda.
I have a second question for you. What makes this online business a sustainable source of income amid these uncertainties that we are in right now?
Yeah, this is a really great question, and there's multiple sort of benefits like with this being sustainable. So one of it, I mean, we've all touched like we're in healthcare workers, you're a pharmacist, yeah, Imelda, and for those who are watching, you're probably in healthcare as well. But we're so busy, right? You're busy at your job. You're working 8 hours, 12 hours. You're working shift work. You go home, you sleep, you're tired. You've got kids. You've got your partner. You've got like activities. You've got other things going on. And because with our business model and the way the system's designed is the automation part, like you take, so I was thinking about this morning. I'm like, the automation is like the big wheel that's helping run everything in the background. If you take that wheel off, it's very challenging for a lot of other parts to work.
Yeah,
But because of the automated part, this is what's our number one selling factor for people to start this business, because without the automation, you can't run the business 24/7. You can't scale the business, meaning scaling it, you can actually reach a global level of your business. Like I'm in Canada, I can do my advertising. If I don't want to do Canada, I can do my advertising in the United States. I can do it in Europe. I can do it in Asia. It's just the the World Wide Web is such a big opportunity for people to do this business globally. So that's the part. The one part is the automation. The other part is that because our system has high ticket products in the back end, the commissions that we make from this is 3 to 4 figures per sale, which is a lot. I know there's a lot of other businesses out there that are low ticket items, but those low ticket items it requires a lot more networking. It requires a lot of your time to go and talk to people in your personal time, because a lot of those low ticket product systems that are designed, they don't have automation included into it. And so, because I've been approached by other people to do those low ticket items, but I'm like, I don't have the time, like, to go and talk to people and network. Because even before I did this business, I was doing like a vacation kind of style networking business. My mentor was great, but he was telling me you have to write down a list of like a list of all the people that you know, and contact 5 of them every day. And I'm like, okay, I'm already busy working as a nurse, and then you want me to spend my time on the weekends and in the evenings trying to call people, trying to talk to people, create conversations about this. I'm like, I just don't have the time. And so, because we have like, when you do low ticket items versus high ticket items, do you want to do more work, and like, where you have to do, let's say, 10 times the work and you make $1,000, or do you want to just make $1,000 with only one, like maybe 10% of the work? I'd rather just do the 10% of the work. And so that's the difference between high ticket, low ticket items. The other thing too is the location freedom, which I mentioned briefly. Like, as long as you have your mobile phone and good connection, you can do this business anywhere. I've given this example before when I was traveling through Central America. And yes, I think I told you this, because I remember getting interviewed by the Spanish group, but I was traveling through Central America for 3 weeks. I remember I was in Costa Rica, driving through the mountains, doing I was helping a business colleague get started on the business. So I was just helping out fill out the paperwork online on my phone, and I was able to submit that all while I was traveling through the mountains of Costa Rica. And also, like, it doesn't matter where you are with, like, as long as you have the business set up. It's easier to do it on a laptop, but once you have it set up, you can do majority of the business on your phone. That's not, I would say 95% of the time I'm doing the business on my phone, because it's just easier, because I'm always out and about doing things. And the other part too is the adaptability, and because I already touched about the scalability, but the adaptability, because we're a digital business, things are always changing all the time with this business. But because our training is updated on a regular basis, we have weekly masterminds every week that teaches us as a community what we can do to improve our branding, what we can do to improve our marketing strategies, what we can do to improve our ads that we have on social media. And as a collective community, because we're a community of over 70,000 people that are actually doing this business, we teach each other the ins and outs of what's changing in the online space, which is, I think, is amazing. Because if you're just one individual trying to catch up on like what's new in the online business, you don't have the time to do that. And looking on Google, looking at like Facebook, Instagram, like what have changed, when you have a team of people doing that work for you, and that information gets disseminated and passed on to the rest of the community. So that's what I can answer with this question there.
Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Well said.
Well said. Yes.
Very nice. Okay.
Yes, I love how you say, all the things that why this business is so good. Some people don't understand. People say, okay, why should I choose your business model? And we're like, well, let me tell you all about it. So I love how you explain it. And you say a lot, because a lot of people go for, and it's understandable, like, as long as you're moving from that comfort zone and you do something for yourself, and you do something better, you are moving from that. You're achieving your goals. But the most important thing you have to know, that what we're talking about our business model, is how faster can you achieve that. Like it was you saying, like with the small tickets, people say, well, I can sell pens, but how many pens do you have to sell to make like that $50, a week? So it's not better if you take a big product, like a big item, and then with one sale, you're all set for the whole month.
Yeah.
Like, that's the difference about the low and high ticket. And that's what we offer on this business. And a lot of people don't understand that. It's not that much of work. is like it just make your life easier, you know, and with the automation and everything on the background, as you said, the wheel. I love that. So for
Yeah,
all the viewers, like there is no other reason. Those are the reasons. Like, come
yeah,
on.
yeah.
And
And
also,
Yeah.
if, and also, if he could do it up in the mountain in Central America, there's no other explanations. That means you
yeah,
can do it anywhere with only your phone.
Portability.
yeah,
Yeah, the
yeah,
portability is awesome.
yeah.
Like up in the mountain.
I want to just add to Yessi's point because for those viewers who are watching, so another thing that an interesting part with our business model in the system is that people don't have to sell because our system
Yes.
does it for you. And I was trying to like because as a nurse, I'm like I'm always trying to explain like what's a good easy way of explaining to people. So I always tell people the primary product is our automated system. That is
Mhm.
our primary product. And then the secondary or backend product is our high ticket product. And so, in order for you to run your business, because it's set up like a franchise model, that's how it is. And in order for you to run your business with the automated primary product, you have to invest into the high ticket products. That's how it works. And so that's why I tell people there's no selling involved because our system does it for you. Our coaches in the back and does it for you. So your own main focus is just the marketing part of running the business and for people to watch the free informational webinar that explains the whole business model and the system at a high level overview. And so once I was able to explain that and do the breakdown and actually create this little picture of a workflow to show people, it helped people better understand the workflow of how the business runs and how they make commissions. Because all of us, when we first started, it was a lot to take in. It was a lot to be like, how do all the dots fit or how do they,
Yeah.
and that's
Yes.
how I was able to connect it was just explaining about the primary product versus like the back end product and the investment involved. And so I hope that explains it to the people who
Yes.
are watching.
Yeah. Thank
Yeah.
you so much for clarifying that, coach, because
Yeah.
most of my friends are asking like, how do you make money if you're not selling? Because it's like, are you selling? I said, no, 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 no. I said, we don't sell products. And I said, so
Mhm.
how do you make money? So thank you so much for the clarification.
You're
Yeah,
welcome.
Well said,
and it's
yes.
always the eagerness for
Yeah.
you to achieve your goal, your why. You always have to go back to why. Your eagerness to learn on how this is. Unlike some people who will already like give up
Hmm.
without even understanding anything yet, without even the slightest interest of watching the webinar. You
Hmm.
know, so there's nothing there. So thank you very much. And I will copy what you do. Like you said, you have a drawing for the workflow. I
Oh yeah,
think
I
that's
can
a
send you
good
guys a
idea.
picture of it after. Yeah.
Well,
Yes,
thank you.
please. Yes,
All right.
please. That's a good idea. Okay.
Okay, so we have a third question for you.
Mhm.
How has building an online business changed your life? We want to know all about it,
Yeah.
both personally and
Oh,
professionally.
yeah.
And what one piece of advice you will give to those ones or the people they are on the fence about starting this online business?
Okay. No, this is another great question. Like when Perlita sent me these questions, I was like, I thought about what I wanted to say. And so I'll start with the professional, how it changed my like that from the professional level. And that one where I'm able to become better a leader and then better with my coaching skills. And I noticed this when I so I mentioned I did different types of roles. So my other recent role was the clinical informatics role. So for those who don't know what that means, it's clinical informatics is helping figure out new workflows. And so what was happening here in British Columbia is that the province bought this whole new patient medical record system program to merge patient documentation. So if you're at one site up in the north who's using the same system, somebody in Vancouver can access that same system. So there's no breakdown in patient communication of like what's going on with the patient. And so this whole system is being implemented. And with that implementation, there's changes in the way that we have to provide support of from the electronic side of things. And so with pre-printed orders, that's what a lot of how orders get passed around from, to clerks, to nurses, to doctors, to labs. And so they're just orders on a piece of paper. But because we're moving things electronically, we had to transfer all that information to the electronic world. And so I provided that support. And it was a new role. Because I was supporting it from the clinical trials perspective. So it was a new role with, like, the director didn't know what the responsibilities were for this particular role. Like, if I was in this role in a general clinical informatics, they have, like, okay, this is the X, Y, and Z that you have to do, but they never had a role for a clinical informatics in clinical trials. So me and two other colleagues had to kind of come up with our own sort of like responsibilities. And because of that, like, because of me mentoring mentees on our business end, when I was doing this role in clinical informatics, I was running the meetings every Monday. I was, during the meetings, I would talk to my colleagues, what's your workload like? I saw that you're working on the weekends, because like the emails come through. If people are doing things on the system, I can see them working. I'm like, why were you working on the weekend? You're not getting paid on the weekend. Keep until Monday. Like, can it wait till Monday? If it can, just don't work on the Saturday or Sunday. And so my manager would be in these meetings, and then she'd ask me, like, I had a meeting one-on-one with her. She's like, were you a manager before? Did you have some sort of leadership skills before? I was like, no. I'm like, I have my online business where I mentor a lot of mentees. And at the same time, I was running the it's our Road to Success interviews on our community. So I would do that as well. And then we have our weekly mastermind. So I was co-hosting the weekly mastermind for our new business owners. And there'd be 800, 900 people watching that. And then I actually had the guts to actually do a topic and talk about a topic on the bigger mastermind. There was, I think, a couple thousand people watching. So I was gaining that confidence of being a leader and how to become a coach and how to become a good mentor. So that's one of the professional levels where my regular day job manager noticed that I have some leadership skills, and she actually asked me if I wanted to become a manager, and I'm like, no, because there's just a lot of extra BS involved with doing the management part. Yeah, so that's one of the professional levels, and then even the marketing and like how I communicate to people has gotten better because of this business, being able to explain things more simple. And then the marketing part, which is in the professional level, I've been able to get better at marketing my business because of the training that get taught to us. And it's really great training because, like, if you go on my Instagram page or in my social media page, you can see that over the 8 years, my posting has gotten better and better and better each time. My ability to be in front of a camera has gotten better each time, the confidence in that. So that's where I've seen a lot of growth. And then the shift from a closed mindset to growth mindset is another big thing for me, because once you get into the entrepreneur sort of mindset, it's like the blinders have been lifted off from your eyes, and you get to see the unlimited opportunities out there in the online space. I know there are a lot of scams out there, but there are a lot of legitimate things out there as well. Like this with our business, there's a lot of legitimate business out there, and you just have to ask the right questions to know that you're getting into the right thing. And so that's the professional level of sort of like what has helped me and what's changed. But in a personal level, what's helped is the work-life balance. It's made me realize how stress is a very hard thing on a person's body. And I've touched on this before in other interviews, is that when I was working at BC Cancer, so during this time, there's 3 nurses so me and 2 other nurses that were working in this particular area. But my one colleague, she had to go on sick leave because she just got stressed out with the work. And so it was me and my other colleague that were working a 3-nurse workload for almost 2 years because we couldn't find a proper replacement. We couldn't just pull a nurse from the hospital because a clinical trials nurse has to have specific training. And when we did find particular people, they would do the role for a bit, but then after a month or 2, they would quit because it wasn't what they wanted, because it was just a very high demanding job, because we didn't have a manager telling us what to do. You had to do things on your own. You're very autonomous. You tell a lot of people what they need to do to help run this clinical trial. And so the workload got very stressful and demanding, and to the point that just before I turned 33, I developed a rare neuromuscular disorder, which really, it's called cervical dystonia or torticollis. And so I lost the ability to have voluntary control of my head movements. And so it happened very acutely within the matter of 8 weeks, I was independent to dependent. So I couldn't feed myself. I couldn't dress myself. My mom had to help feed me, had to help like put on clothes. The only way for my symptoms to kind of minimize was for me to lie down in bed. And so I thought that was my new normal. But because like the doctors didn't know what was causing it, but I knew it was the stress. Like I've reached my threshold of like reaching that stress. And so I thought that was my new life. I thought I would not get any better. And so I cried every day. I was depressed. I was like trying to figure out like, what is this disorder? Do people get better? Nobody really posts anything online because like the the way that my head was turning was so alien. Like it felt like somebody controlled my head, and it was doing it every 3 to 5 seconds. So every time I got mad, it twisted even harder. And so it was a very dark part of my life. But then also it made me realize that I need to manage my stress a lot more. And I realized it even more because I think I mentioned it last time when I got interviewed that I ended up traveling for 7 months last year with my partner. And so I didn't really have much stress. I was like enjoying my life. I was doing the business. And with my particular condition, I get Botox put in my neck every 4 months. Like that's indefinite. I have to do that in order for me to have voluntary control of my head movement. And usually every time I get those treatments, it's like I need it. Because my muscles start aching, my shoulders, like my whole body can't, like I just can't turn my head easily. I have to turn my whole body. But when I was traveling for the 7 months, thankfully my neurologist has other colleagues globally. And so I was able to get my injection in Buenos Aires in Argentina. But when I was there at that time and getting it, I'm like, I didn't need it. Like I didn't feel like I needed it because I didn't have the stress of like the day-to-day stress working a 9 to 5 job or, working for somebody else. Like I had the time freedom and I was able to enjoy my life a lot better. And then when I came back to Canada, that stress came back again on my shoulders. And like I feel it every day on my neck and my shoulders when I'm here in Canada, but when I'm actually out and traveling doing my thing, it's not there. And so that's where I've realized from a personal level, work-life balance is so important. And this business has allowed me to be able to achieve that work-life balance. And every time I think about if I want to go back to nursing, it stresses me out because we all know in healthcare is that the shortage is there. The demand is even higher because we don't like the population is getting older. And so there's people that are, needing our assistance more, but then we don't have the manpower or the nurses, the pharmacists to help catch up with that demand. And so it's crazy with the workload that you get. I know last time I worked at a hospital was many, many years ago. But I remember 8 years ago, I was bringing in patients and putting them in the hallway from Emerge. That was 8 years ago. And my colleague who I mentored and precepted her, she still works in the same unit as me. Was it like 8-9 years later? And she's saying it's even worse now. And I can't imagine that, like working in inpatient and just because it's tough in a way that you're so stressed because as a nurse, you want to do the best thing for your patient. But at the same time, it's hard when you have the Emerge pushing patients onto you and saying, you have to take this patient. You can't say no. And you're just like, who do I kick out in the room at 3 in the morning or 4 in the morning because I need the hookup to the oxygen tank, or like some critical equipment to help this person stay safe or look after them. So it's just stressful in a way that I'm just more aware of like that work life balance. And so that's where I think like a personal level that I've been able to achieve that is that I'm able to know that like, okay, if I see something stressful, I'm like, I'm not going to go to that. Like, or I know what my stress level limit is. And so that's why even now, like I stepped away from nursing, but I'm still casual, but I'm very mindful of like what kind of work I do, because I don't want to do very stressful work, because I have I have no choice, because any kind of stress, as I mentioned, is linked to my disorder. And then I know, because in my neck and my shoulders get so stiff and then they tighten up, and that's me. That's my body reminding me, Paulo, this is too stressful for you. Like you have to step away and do something else. So yeah, that's I hope I answered that question.
Yeah.
Well,
Yes, Paolo, of course you did. I love it. Thank you so much for telling your history, And I really agree, like, with we always start with the business. You're thinking about the money, like a financial. But you just know when you start realizing there is more, There is
mhm,
that mind shift
Yeah.
that you start. That's that personal growth, You're a better person. Same thing, like I was thinking, like, I'm not the same person like 4 years ago, when I started the business, my first post, like all shaking and whatever, So now I'm more confident, and I feel like I'm helping people, because when you're helping people and you see that you're actually making a change, like that give you power, you believe more on yourself, you believe more on you and the things that you can do. And that's what we do with this business, because we're changing life, no? So we feel more confident. But yeah, thank you so much for like sharing your history and like, and explaining, your personal, like the things that happen to you. And it's not just because the nursing career, no, I know we are all nurses on health care related on today, but it's just, sometimes we're doing those jobs, they are really demanding, and sometimes we have two or three, and because we need the money, and
yeah,
then we cannot say no, even if we know our body or ourselves cannot take it. There is a lot of burnout nurses out there, but we cannot say no because we need the money.
yeah,
But when we take that out, like when you take that money part, because now you have your online business that you're making that residual money, and that money is not like, it's not a worry. You're
yeah,
spending more time with your family, you're more present. Like you as you said, you can keep doing your career, because I love what I do, and but I don't like exhaust myself, I'm a casual or part-time or whatever, but I'm not taking that much stress, because I don't have to be worried about the money, I just there enjoying and helping others. So thank you so much for explaining that.
yeah.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
love
Yeah.
it.
Yes.
And come
Thank
to
you so
think
much,
of
Coach.
it,
I think you
um,
laid it out beautifully for our viewers.
yeah,
And for those who are watching us, I hope you get a lot. There's a lot there to take in about our business. It's not just financial. It's self development, and also, guys, our mind. We're all like, I think, especially immigrants. We were all like trained to, like, you go to school, you work until, like, you retire. But there's a different way these days, like, to get out of that 9 to 5 grind. So if you're watching, just check us out, okay?
Yeah. And I forgot, I didn't answer that last question about the advice of people.
go ahead, coach.
So my advice is don't wait, because one of the things too is like when I do coaching calls with people or talk to people about the business, they're like, oh, it's just not the right time, or I just don't have the finances to do it. And so the first part where when people say they don't have the time, I would say make the time, because again, I always bring that question back to people. Where do you see yourself in the next 1 or 2 years? And if you're in your job and you don't see yourself getting a proper raise or getting more vacation time or being able to move up into the like in a different position, then you have to really start looking for a plan B, because the employers, they're not really going to have your back. I mean, yeah, if you're in a union, they do have your back in a way, but you're not going to have a ability to earn a lot more
Oh yeah.
outside of like your employer, because when you're in union, you're capped financially. But when you're doing this business, there is the financial means is not capped at all. You can make whatever you want depending on how much time and effort you put into the business. And then the second piece is like not having the finances to do it. And so you may not be able to start right away. I've talked to people where like they just don't have the finances, and I say, you know what, if you looked into the system, you like it, this is something that's resonating with you, that your gut instinct is saying this is something that you want to do, then hold off, save up for it, and then you can come back and then we can re-explore you starting again. But if you're that type of person that you're like you don't have the money but yet you're spending money on drinking, going out, going to fancy dinners, all this stuff, you have to change that mindset and look at it that this is an investment into your future. This is an investment into making a better quality of life for your family, where you can have more time, where you're not stressed. When you start changing that mindset thinking of saying like, oh, if I'm putting money into it, this like I'm just spending money, you have to change that mindset and saying you're investing
Yes.
money into this business, into yourself, so that you can improve your quality of life. Because over the last 8 years, my quality of life, my mindset has changed over the last 8 years because of this business. I've seen many other people globally in our community whose lives have changed, where they've been able to, like one guy quit his 3 jobs over the last couple of years of when he first started the business, and is doing this business full time and traveling. Many people who've been able to do this business, because this business is a long-term business. It's not something that's quick rich. This business is something that you can pass down to your kids, your family. If anything ever happened to you, you can pass it down. I can't pass my nursing career down to my niece or nephew. It's
Yes.
just it's stuck with me.
Thank you for that. I
Yeah.
was just gonna ask. I was mentioned that thing, that like this thing is like generational, business.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, and you have to just think of like those sort of the positivities of like what this business can bring out of you and what it can create, and just ask your questions too. If you're, because as I mentioned, there's a lot of scams out there, and so when I tell people what I do is, because when in clinical trials, I've consented hundreds and hundreds of patients onto clinical trial studies. And as a clinical trials nurse, you can't persuade or coerce people to get onto a study. They have to voluntarily do it. And so I tell people when I'm doing this business, I use that same skill set. I'm here to present you with the facts and the information. The fact is, this business has created millionaires in our community, not one or two, multiple handfuls of millionaires in this community, and also people who are earning like over $500,000 a year. Like that's what this business model can do. And even if you just only want to earn 500, couple $1,000s extra a month, you can do it with this business as well. Those are facts. They're not lies. They're not scams. Those are facts. The other fact is that this is legit. We get our tax slips. I just got mine last week
Yeah.
to file commissions, because that's the number one thing I always get. This is like comments on my paid ads. This is a scam, and then I comment back. I'm like, how is this a scam when I get a T4A slip from the government? And so that's another thing that I point out to people, because people are always worried about like if it is a scam. So that's where I cut it off there. I'm like, it's not a scam. And then the other part too is like if they're worried about starting, they're just like they don't have the time. As I mentioned earlier, like if you want to change, if you really need to change something, and you want it so badly, just take the time, because it's better to be proactive right now versus reactive when something is happening. Because when it's reactive, it's a knee jerk scenario where you have to do something because you just lost your job, or your partner lost your job, or you got sick. This is your cushion. This is what's going to help you get through that hardship. And so, yeah, I'll leave it at that with just those fence sitters, and just keep asking your questions until you get all of them answered, and follow your
Yes.
gut instinct.
Yeah, and thank you very very much for all
Thank you so
those
much,
team
Coach.
members and coach. And I would just like want to add something. And going back to what you said, Coach Paolo, earlier, and it is, don't you think it is quite sad for so many healthcare workers to be shifting from the healthcare field to the online business because of too much stress in the healthcare? We do not hate the job as a healthcare hero, but the system itself is what
Yeah.
causes us,
It's
it
broken.
is really, yeah, the healthcare field, this is our callings per se. This is the vocation, this is what we signed up for, but all those stress, the physical, mental, psychological, and social stress is just way too much. That's why so many thousands of people in the healthcare world are shifting to the online business. So thank you very much for all those that you shared, Coach, and my team. And anything else before I ask you for any more additional knowledge to share? For all you guys who want to try this out, just click on one of our links, and so that we can give you more information on how this online business works. And of course, we always have the live complimentary webinar every Tuesday and Thursdays, the same time at 8 p.m. Eastern. And we're inviting you to join and try it out instead of maybe you would resonate with it. And if not, at least you checked it out instead of you thinking what might have been, right? Okay, anybody, Coach, do you have something else to add? And you ladies?
No, I have nothing else
I
to add.
think
Hey,
Coach
ladies?
Paolo laid it out so beautifully for
Mhm.
our viewers, and I'm
Yes.
sure they get a lot of golden nuggets from this interview.
Yeah, this
So
is a
Yes.
very compelling live chat, Coach Paolo. Thank you very
You're
much.
welcome.
thank you
Okay,
again, Coach.
thank you. God
Thank
Thank
bless.
you,
And
you.
everyone. Thank you for
Coach,
watching. Thank
please
you so
send
much,
us your
Coach.
workflow. Thank you.
Yeah.
Bye,
Bye.
take
Bye,
care.
everyone. Thank you for
Bye.
watching.
Bye. God bless everyone.
God bless.